Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. You know, there are certain fundamentals that need to be met if you're going to live your best life. And one of them is being healthy. And one of them is having a health team behind you that can work synergistically with all the things in life that may be going on with you. That includes nutrition, energy, making sure your spine is aligned, and doing all kinds of things. And it can be a complete program. And our guest today, Dr. Emma Watson, is...
Wagner.
Did I say Watson? I meant Wagner. I'm so sorry. Forgive me for...
I forgive you. I know she's very famous right now.
Yes, indeed. But Dr. Emma is with us, and she is a chiropractor of note. She's an energy worker. She works with nutrition, and she does something that I haven't really had an opportunity to talk about a lot on the show. And she actually has a workshop around it. And so I wanted to touch bases with her on that. But before we go there, let me introduce Dr. Emma. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Thank you, Kevin. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm always awesome. See, here's the thing. I have this show. It's called Positive Talk. And you can't have a show that you name Positive Talk if you don't have a positive
attitude in life, for sure.
You know, and so so it is just, and this is just me. It's just the way it is. I'm always upbeat and positive because I get to talk to some of the most influential and talented people on the planet. Both you and your husband have a practice in Southern California. I believe it is called S&C
St. Clemente Vitality Center.
Yes, indeed. And Vitality Center, that denotes a lot more than just being a chiropractor, doesn't it?
It does. It's true that we've both have over 24 years in experience in chiropractic. We started our practice in California as just a basic chiropractic office, and very soon we realized that people needed more than just chiropractic. They needed help with nutrition. They needed help with detoxification. We wanted to bring in some instrument that helps with body regeneration. So we're really into body hacking. And so it made more sense to create a wellness center. And when we were looking at what name we wanted to do that wellness center, Vitality made very much sense to us because we're really about living a full life full of vitality and love and connection. So
you'd be really happy. I just finished doing a radio show / podcast with someone who is very interested in environmental toxins.
Yeah.
And the environmental toxins that we all face. So we spent an hour talking about jet fuel and fire.
Yeah, that's not a fun conversation to have.
But it's entirely necessary.
We need to know about it more, for sure. And we need to detox from those toxins a lot more, for sure, too.
And there are two ways that we can do that. We're going to talk a little bit, if it's all right with you, and we can talk about your internal detoxification programs and how that can play a part, because you can't do a whole lot about jet fuel.
No.
As an example, and if people say jet fuel, what do you mean? Well, let me explain. When a jet flies overhead, it leaves exhaust. In that exhaust are chemicals. So then a rain cloud comes along and it drops rain on the chemicals in the exhaust, and that brings it to the ground, is absorbed by the ground, goes to the groundwater, and then goes to our lakes and rivers. And if they use that to irrigate plants and irrigate crops, then it goes into the crops, and then you eat the spinach
and the meat that grows with it too. It's everywhere. It's a very big problem because it's really everywhere, and there's not a lot of place in the world where you don't have jet fuel pollution. in your system. So it's an important problem to look into and to work with.
If you ever wonder about that, then I believe that there's some places online that you can go and you can see all the jets that are in the air over the United States at any given time. It is busy up there.
It's very busy.
Yes, indeed. But before we go there, because I want to get that, then that'll be more of the second half of the show. One of my favorite things in the world I want to talk about is muscle testing.
Okay.
And people are saying, what are you checking your biceps or what is muscle testing?
So there's different kind of muscle testing, and people might feel like they know what we're talking about. The muscle testing I'm teaching and the muscle testing I use in my office is a bit more an energetic muscle testing where I'm just communicating with the body and asking the body questions, and the body will answer by showing a weakness. So generally, very often the muscle testing is done with one arm held in front, and the practitioner that is testing is going to just gently push on the arm. Either the arm will stay strong or the arm will go weak, depending on what we're going to ask. There's a lot of people that do muscle testing with their fingers. And so, same, the idea is to have something that can open and close, something that can move, and something that's going to be strong against it. And so you can ask your body question if it's a yes or if it's a no. When I teach muscle testing workshop, I really teach about how to get a sure yes and a sure no from your body and understanding where that is coming from. So for me, muscle testing is really a tool to communicate with the body and understand what the body needs and what is going to strengthen the body and what is going to weaken the body.
I've really tried because I use muscle testing and I tried to lie to myself
Yep.
and it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. The body doesn't lie. The body, our nervous system, the brain itself doesn't know how to lie. And so the body, when you ask the body directly, you're not getting a lie from it. After that, depending on the questions, I have some patients, they're funny, they're coming and they're like, should I marry this guy? Or is this my person? And I'm like, this is a very hard question to answer for your body because there's a lot of dot that fits into that one question. But for a simple question like, is this supplement good for me? Or is this food going to help me achieve my goal? This is a good way to check in the body to see if the body will answer you those questions. The more emotional one about, is that a right guy for me? It's not as effective.
Well, but I often use muscle testing to determine, as an example. See, what I do is I go like this.
Yep.
So I interlock my two
Interlock. Mm-hmm.
interlock. And so when I interlock like that, and then I ask the question, if the question is no, then the lock will break
You go
and my
weak.
hands will come up. If it's yes, it can be a
Stay
strong
strong.
yes or a weak yes. But if it's yes, they'll stay together. And as an example, I did this on you. Is Dr. Emma a real good guest to have on?
Yeah, super strong.
I cannot pull my fingers apart to save my life.
Awesome.
And so it works. But
Works.
it's energy based and it's based upon your body. Where does the energy come from, do you think?
Where the energy come from? That's a very, very good question. I think it's part of that. I think we're part of a whole. We're a collective. People call it the soul. People call it spirit. I think we are definitely infused with an innate intelligence. So we have our innate intelligence, we have the universal intelligence, and so this universal intelligence set into our system, and it's what gives us that power of energy. And most people don't know how to tap into that energy, that intelligence that organize the world. And some people like me wants to tap more into their guidance, that intelligence, and find ways to use their body to gauge that intelligence.
I think it's absolutely vital that you understand your energy structure. Let me be clear, because some people would say, "Well, that's woo woo, or that's out there, or that's metaphysical." It really isn't. Energy, it's been proven. Your body operates on energy. You have energy around you. You have the seven chakras. Some people say there are many more
Hmm.
chakras than the seven. There are the seven major, and then there are minor ones all over the place. Think in terms of acupuncture.
Yeah, the
That
meridian are is a very impressive energetic systems for sure.
yeah. So they're there. So
They're
it's
there.
not a matter of something that isn't available to us. It's like when you get in your car and you turn on your radio and your radio plays, but there are no wires to the radio station. It's radio waves. You
Hmm.
can't see the way radio waves, but they're there, and that's how your car radio works. So this is just that, only at a different level, right?
Yeah, it's different level, different wavelengths, but yeah, it's globally like that. It's you being able to receive that global intelligence that is around us, and I believe that intelligence is positive, creative, and it's really there to organize life on this planet. And tapping into that intelligence, I think, help us be part of the creation.
There's somebody in our audience that is asking me to ask you. I get this all the time. Yeah, okay, Dr. Emma is very gifted in this. How did it happen for you? Where did it begin? Have you always been interested in energy and the things that go along with it, or is that relatively new, or was it something that you learned over time?
So I was 12 when I was on the road and I was bored, and I did an energy trip into the clouds to meet my guardian angel. So I was 12 when I met my guardian angel Max, and from there I he taught me the world. He taught me how to communicate with the animals. He taught me how to look at the wave. I had to look at the clouds. I had to feel the energy of the world. When I was 16, I discovered that Max was not just my imaginary friends, but a spiritual guardian angel. And so I started using Max in a very different way at age 16. I discovered muscle testing in chiropractic school because in chiropractic we have a lot of technique based on muscle testing. So either people use the arm, either people use the feet. We have a lot of teachers just doing like easy muscle testing while they're around people to check them. Sometimes with telling you, sometimes without showing. But when you start looking and you start paying attention, you see what they're doing. So I was exposed to muscle testing in chiropractic school. And I started using it for a tests purpose because there were some questions that were hard for me that I couldn't answer. And instead of just guessing, I was like, I'm going to use muscle testing to figure out which answer resonate the best with my system. So I used muscle testing. I passed my test, gave me a little bit more confidence about the muscle testing. And then it took me years before I really started using it in my office to feel confident and to feel like I could trust the results I had within myself to bring it to my clients. I didn't want to first do it just at first I was just doing it to play with it, to get insights, to see how it worked. And when I felt confident in it and when I felt like it made sense in my practice to start using it, I started using it on my patients, and then magic happens because things gets revealed and people are like, how do you know this? And it's like, well, your body is telling me. People call me a body whisperer. I think it's because I'm able to do that muscle testing.
That's really cool.
Hmm.
That's it's it's got to freak some people out,
It,
but
it,
it's
it
really
does
cool
freak some people.
because it's like, how'd you know that? I didn't tell you that. Did you talk to my husband or wife or whatever? And but I wanted to get back to your spirit guide slash angel guardian angel. I think it's high. They have got a great sense of humor. I can only
It
because
does.
it's not Gabriel or Michael or it's Arbitron or any of those. It's hi, I'm Max. I'm your spirit guide. I think that is the funniest thing.
You know what? I think I was young too, and I think the more evolved we are when we meet that spiritual guardian angel, the maybe would have had a different name as my consciousness evolved. At that point, when I asked him what his name was, the only thing I could understand is that max energy that he was representing.
Oh, very nice. Very
So
nice.
it's interesting when you talk to a guardian. I mean, it's interesting when I talk to him because I don't really talk to him. The way he shows me things is through vision, through feelings, through connections. So it's more a feeling than a vision. I don't hear his name, I feel his name. And I am the one that translate in my consciousness what I can feel in that space that is not totally conscious.
Exactly. And a lot of it is, excuse me, is Reiki uses energy
Yes.
as well, the same kind of things. And there are certain forms of chiropractic that use energy kind of in a subtler way.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
very much.
because you don't necessarily want to say, I'm going to do energetic work on you, because somebody may say, I don't know what that is. I'm out of here.
Some
But
people are worried about energy work. It sounds
yeah,
like voodoo, and you're going to give me a curse. And whose energy am I allowing? People are very conscious that they don't want somebody weird energy coming into their system, that they are not fully engaged in the same belief.
well, and that's, gosh, every time I talk to you, there is just so much. So now add that to the list. We have to talk about detoxification. We have to talk about touching your spirit guides,
Uh-huh.
and now we have to talk about oh gosh, I had it on the tip of my tongue. What you just said? What did you just say?
Consciousness. I don't remember.
And it'll come back. But it's another aspect of
Hmm.
your life and of spirituality, and I just wanted to share this with our audience. In the opening, you hear us say, there's a point in time when you ask the question, everybody does, why am I here? What am I here to do? I firmly believe that at that particular moment in time, I was 42 years old, and I asked my spirit guides that as I became acquainted with them, because I grew up in a Lutheran household and that just wasn't talked about there.
Yes.
And so but as I started to get into meditation and to learn some of these things, I said, okay, guys, show me what you want me here, what I'm here to do. Show me why I'm doing what I'm doing, and why am I here? And I got the distinct impression that on the other side they were saying, oh, finally he's asking. So now that he's asking, now we can go to work and we can help him go through and understand what he's here to do, and to take the steps that are going to be necessary to give him the strength, the experience, and the understanding to be able to do all that. Do I need to be back on medication, or is that really how that works?
Do you need to be back on medication? I hope not. I hope this is how it works. Yeah, a lot of people would say you need medication for sure. I think people like to have a very organized world that's simple and easy. I think we're not taught from a very young age how to tap into that spiritual connection. I think religion have taken over that spiritual aspect of life and are not necessarily doing a very good job at helping people connect by themselves. They're making them dependent of the rituals present in the church that they're part of to have that spiritual experience. I don't think a lot of people, prayer is good, but I what I see a lot with people is that they pray but they don't listen back to what the divine is telling them. I think it creates distance. I think there's a lot of distance in this world between the human form and the spiritual form, and I think it's time to bridge that distance to create more connection with our higher self. And it should start at a very young age, and I was lucky to be exposed to different lifestyle and different concepts from a very young age, and that I was not necessarily part of a religion. There was not a lot of religion in my family when I was growing up, so I had to create my own reality around what spirituality means. And for a very long time I refused to use the word God. I refused to really talk about spirits. For me, I was more talking about magic, um, because all that God aspect was more scary than anything else. It was distance, was putting distance between me and what I felt Max was, and how amazing this world we live in was.
And Max was there for you to help you and understand it and on a real fundamental level.
On a very fundamental level.
And by the way, we're talking with Dr. Emma. Your website again, Doctor?
Dr. Emma Wagner, and Saint Clemente Vitality.com.
We need to take a real quick break. When we come back, we are going to talk about, I want you to tell somebody in our audience that is interested in accessing their own guardian angel and or spirit guide, how you did it and how everybody can do it, and they can do it too. We'll be right back. You're listening to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. We'll be right back.
They have your eyes. They have your ears. They have your smile. Now all they need is a little more of your time. Make a difference in your child's life, because anyone can be a father. It takes time to be a dad.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. That was real quick, wasn't it, Dr. Emma? That wasn't bad at all. And we got to hear about how to be a dad rather than just be a father.
I love that. I think it's so important.
It really is. And if somebody in our audience, and there is somebody in our audience, I can guarantee you, that is saying to themselves, gosh, I may have tried prayer, I tried meditation, but I haven't been able to figure it out yet. How did you do it, and how would you recommend that someone, I know that listening is a big part of it, being quiet is a big part of it. What would you recommend somebody do if they are genuinely interested in fundamentally changing their life?
So for me, when I met Max, it was really an accident. We were in a car, we were driving long distance on an area where there was nothing to see. It was in a desert. There was one road that was straight, and there was just that one cloud in the sky that was puffy, beautiful clouds. And I remember that I was watching a show when I was a kid that had some friends, that had some people living in the clouds. And I thought to myself, I'm going to go in the cloud and I'm going to meet a friend so that I'm not that bored onto this long road trip. And I was a little bit dozy. I think the movement of the car on this long winding street helps too. That oscillation of that pineal gland. Somebody talks about this, and it's very interesting in this video to watch. It's called slow-mo. I don't know if you ever heard about slow-mo.
I haven't. I'll have to look it up.
Slow-mo is a ice skater, not ice, line skater in San Diego. He used to be a medical doctor, and he lost his vision, and he was not able to practice his work anymore as a medical doctor. And so he was lost within himself for a while, and what he decided to do was to skate in San Diego on the big beach walk. And everybody knows him because he skates in very slow motion. And what he explained is that when he's doing this slow motion with movement, and because you're on a line skate, you have to move from side to side on a slow basis, it creates something in your brain. And again, he's a medical doctor, neurologist. He understands this way better than I do. But he explained how there's that little gland, that something happened when that gland moved from side to side at a slow motion. And I think that's what happened to me. And it puts you in a deeper state of meditation. It puts you in a state where you have access to your superpowers. That alpha state where your mind is relaxed, where your brainwave is slower, and you have access to that supercomputer you have in between your ear. And so that's how it happened for me. And after that, as soon as I was walking to school, walking to different activities, I would call Max to me, and you have to make the effort. You have to place the intention that you want your guardian angel here with you. But I was again, I was a child that didn't have a lot of friends. I think I was a little bit autistic or a little bit different. And I took a lot of pleasure being with myself, and being with Max was an easy way to stay with myself and to have company and to explore the world in a different way.
And it is an extension of yourself.
It is an
And
extension of myself.
and by the way, they will not bother you if you don't invite them in.
Exactly. So you have to request. And a part of, and I ask Max a lot of time, why do I have to ask you to be here? And it's like, this is part of the choice we have. And we're here, we have freedom of choice. This is part of most religion in the world. And part of that choice that we have is, what do we want to do with that choice? And when we have the intention to do something, this is part of our choice. And the intention to call a guide with us is an intention that we can set.
And they will obey that intention.
I think they're very excited to come and to join you, and they're excited to be part of your life and to have an action in this physical reality when they're energetic being.
Well, and that is really it's kind of I suppose it's kind of like if you're a school teacher and there's a particular student who isn't paying attention to you, and you can't get through to them, and it'd be very frustrating. But at one point in time, that student turns around to you and says, I really like how you're teaching me, and I want you to teach me more. The teacher will then have a moment of celebration, if you will, that they got through. They got through, and now they can begin to make the life work for this child much better. The same thing happens with us, doesn't it?
Exactly. And so when I was 16, I was studying Silva Mind Control, which is a meditation, positive relaxation. So we go in deep meditation states and we program our mind to do different action. And one of those exercises was to go in the mind lab, where the idea was to step down into that mind lab, to open the door, and you see the screen. So when you have system in place, and when you have, the more you're organized and the more you can comprehend that reality that's behind it, the easier it is to create it. So I love when there's systems that are able to help you create what you need in that spiritual reality, in that energetic reality. So Silva Mind Control is that technique where you go into that mind lab, I open the door, and I'm supposed to meet my guardian angel, and I'm open the door and I'm seeing Max, and I'm like, what are you doing here? And his answer was, what do you think I was this whole time?
Wow.
And it just blew my mind. I just sat there and I sitted, and it took me a while to wrap my head around that one.
As well I can understand. And and when you talk about finding a place that and I really do encourage everybody to do this. I had a dream one time, and in this dream, it was a very real dream, and there was tornadoes, and it was dark, and it was very chaotic, and there was lots of scary stuff going on. And then I passed through that into a bright light and a meadow and a large rock and a river running through it and mountains in the distance. And it was very peaceful, very relaxing for me. And so now that is when I want to go to a place that I feel safe, relaxed, and am in communication with my guides. Because what then happens is I sit on the rock and they gather around, and then then we have a conversation. And I don't need medication, folks. This is just, I promise you, this is a real thing, at least for me. And but we all have the ability to do that, don't we?
I really feel like we all have the ability to do it. Some of us are more blocked, and because it's not part of this world we know, it's not part of what we were taught from a young age. Some people have a harder access to it because it's so far out from their own reality, and our brain really like coherence and wants to maintain what our emotional reality. There's a work that emotional dissonance, all that doesn't work. So our brain is going to show us what we think is true. So if you cannot believe, and if you grow up in an environment where you could not believe in that spiritual guardian angel, it's going to be very hard for you to go past that belief that they don't exist. So the challenge is to break away from old programs to allow newness to come in.
And the two words that I use all the time and really love are, first of all, listen. And I mean, really listen. And the other one is trust. Trust what you hear. I cannot tell you, Dr. Emma, the numbers of times I talk to authors, musicians, poets, actors, directors, all people in chiropractors, people in all forms of work in life that will tell me, I don't know why I do this, but I listen and this is how I'm being directed. And it comes to me, a lot of people call it a download. And it comes to me from the other side. And I trust that the download is correct. And so that becomes a book. That becomes a song. Paul McCartney and Yesterday is an example.
Yeah, exactly.
And many other things like that. And if we don't trust
even like the gravity, I think gravity or the one in the water, the how water got, like weights of water are lifted, I think that's something that came to the person in their dreams too. So when we're in that dreams, we slow down the brain. We go from a state of very awakened beta state, and we slow down our brainwave, and we get into that theta state where we're asleep. But in between those two states, there's a place where we're conscious. We're able to connect to that higher state, that higher consciousness, and still remember what we connect to. A lot of people dream about it because when you dream about, when you go in that dream state, you pass through that layer of alpha state.
Exactly. And that is also a concept that has to do with hypnotherapy.
Exactly.
And how that can actually work. By the way, we're talking with Dr. Emma. She is a chiropractor. She is an energy worker. She's a healer. When we need to take a station break. And when we come back for the second half of the show, I want to talk about how you help people in their physical body with detoxification, with nutrition, with how to work with people so that they can live their best physical lives, so that they can then move over into a better spiritual existence as well. Can we talk about that when we come back?
I would love to.
We'll be right back. You're listening to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back, everybody, to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. I got to tell you, Dr. Emma, we have so many problems in our world and in our country. It is nice to be able to go to a place like the Vitality Center that you operate, where people can really find a sense of togetherness and community and a safe place for them to be. And it's like that last commercial. I love running these because they highlight so many issues and so many problems that we have as a country, as a world, that it's great to talk to somebody like yourself who understands your greatness and is living the adventure of a lifetime and are helping others do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I think it's really time to do better, to take better care of our community, extended one, to be better and start small, but be better around you for sure.
It is important. That is important work, as is understanding how the toxic environment that we live in today is affecting all of us internally,
Mhm.
and how you can kind of detoxify yourself and to help your body do better. Because when there's a lot of toxins, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you got a lot of toxins in your body, it affects your liver, it affects your kidneys, and all your internal organs. And some people will even tell you that it affects your brain.
It affects
So,
everything.
so give us some ideas that you
So
use.
So for me, it's important to help the body to detoxify. We live in a very toxic environment, and we talked about jet fuel at the beginning of the show. It's not just jet fuel; it's everything from pesticide to herbicides. Our water is polluted, our air is polluted, our food is polluted. So we need to be aware that there is toxins, and we need to help our body that has detoxification system already set up in them work better, because there's too much of it in our environment today, and the body needs help detoxifying. After that, if you live on a small island, if you drink fresh water, if you eat very fresh food, you might not have as much need as everybody else. Detoxifying and helping the body detox can be a little bit stressful, so I'm going to just mention it quickly that it might not be time for you to detox all the time. And it's not good to detox all the time. Your body needs to reset, to regenerate, and detoxifying needs to be done on a regular basis, but not on a continuous basis. And if your body is too tired, detoxifying will add to the stress and will weaken your system. So it might not be the right things to do all the time. That being said, I think it's really good to help the body detox. In the office, we have a sauna, an infrared sauna, which is really good for detoxification, which help the body sweat and the lymphatic system to get activated so that the body can sweat, then detox, release some toxins more.
Can I interject here?
Yes.
Because I have an infrared sauna,
Uh-huh.
have had it for 10 years. I haven't had a cold in
Yep.
10 years
Because every time you're
because
cold, you go in there and it kills the bug before it gets started.
that's exactly right. And I use it all the time, and it kind of gives my body a fever, and it also pulls out the toxins, because actually it goes fairly deep. It goes a couple inches deep
Mhm.
into your body, doesn't it?
It goes pretty deep. So this is one of the detoxification system, and it's more lymphatic and sweating. We also have an ionic foot detox bath. The ionic foot detox bath is a device where you put your feet in warm water and you run a small electrical current in that water while your feet are in it. Small electrical current, we're not talking about shock therapy. It's a very mild feeling of electricity running through your body, but what the electricity is doing is ionization. And the ionization, because most of our toxins are ions, they're getting pulled into the water of the foot bath. And so you're able to see, and our patient really like it because they can see how much gunk comes out of them, and it's very real. And
It's very shocking, by the way.
it's very shocking. I have a lot of people that tells me this is woohoo, this is not true, it doesn't really work. What convinced me that it worked was a couple of my patients, two sisters. They lived on the same street. One of them come, I think it was on Monday. She does a foot bath, and the foot bath comes out on a very strange green, phosphorescent green color, which I never had seen before. And I'm looking at her and her foot bath, and I'm like, "What have you been exposed to? This is not a normal color. I have no idea what this means. What I would love for you to tell me what you got exposed to." And she's like, "I don't know. I've been doing exactly the same thing as I've done ever. I didn't do anything." I'm like, okay. So I was a little frustrated because I like resolving issues and I like understanding what's happening. So she leaves. I'm like thinking about her foot bath, thinking about it, trying to do some research online, couldn't find anything. A few days later, probably 4 or 5 days later, her sisters comes in, do a foot bath. our food bath turns out pretty much the same phosphorescent green color. And so I go to talk to her, and I'm like, "What's happening around you? What do you know about this? Your sister has the same issue. What happened to you guys?" And at first she's like, "Nothing, nothing, nothing." And at the end she's like, "Oh, we just got ants treatment all around our house."
Oh my.
And her sister was there a couple hours after the ant treatment. They were walking around everywhere outside, showing the plants and talking about where they wanted to put plants.
And so because they're
Because it was right there, they got exposed to that toxins, and that toxin got exposed in their food bath in that weird phosphorescent green color.
that's pretty impressive.
It's very
Um,
impressive.
Yeah, so that tells you that that's actually real. And for those of you that are wondering, wow, it's on the outside of your body and stuff, I want to call your attention to a nicotine patch.
Hmm.
If you're trying to quit smoking, you put the nicotine patch on the outside of your arm, and then the chemicals and the medicine goes into your bloodstream from the outside. So it affects your clothing, it affects anything that touches your skin or is around your skin on the outside, and if you breathe it, it affects goes on the inside. It's everywhere, and it's
It's
impossible.
everywhere. It's
You
everywhere.
now, what do you think of detox, like internal
So
fasting detox?
we do recommend on a regular basis internal detox. I would call them more like digestive detox, where we're specifically cleaning out the gut because the gut needs help because we're eating too much on a too regular basis, and our stomach has a tendency to work all the time. So doing an internal detox to give a little bit of rest to the stomach, the intestine, the colon, the liver, the gallbladder is a very good idea. Again, depending on your situation, I don't recommend it for everyone all the time. So you can do that by juicing, by fasting, by there's a lot of different products on the market that use vegan protein powder to help create a meal to change your habits, to give a rest to your gut and digestive system. I like them. I do them generally once a year, either in spring or in September. I have not done one this year. I'm thinking about doing one pretty soon with spring.
I wanted to ask you, what do you think of it? And this technology has been around forever. And it's like 100, 150 years old. But the what do they call it? A colonic
A
is,
colonic. Hmm.
and where basically they're flushing out your larger intestine. Is
So
that
they're inserting a small tube with water inside your butthole and giving water inside your colon to help rehydrate the colon. It's very interesting because I never heard about it when I was younger. I discovered it probably 5 or 7 years ago, meeting a practitioner here in California. And when I talked to my mother-in-law about it, she was like, "Well, we used when we were kids to do enemas every Sunday." So I think there are practices that have been lost over time, where when we didn't have medicine, Western medicine, and we had to do something before symptoms would happen, people were probably better about taking care of themselves, about making teas, about drinking potions. There's a lot still in Europe of herbal medicine, herbal remedies that you help for this or that, for drainage, for detoxification, for cleansing your liver, that I don't find as much in the US. I think US is the center of that Western medicine. And I think a lot of our traditional remedies got lost in the way. And I
they
think
aren't? Yeah,
colonics are part of those ancient remedies.
and it's been around for a long time,
It's been
and
around for a long time.
in I believe in Europe they're still popular. They've never caught on here. Well, I can tell you why they never caught on here, and you said it yourself. You're going to insert something up your rear end, and so we're
It's not something we're comfortable with to start with. Having somebody else go there and do something with that body part.
Exactly. And in other cultures, they have a whole different viewpoint.
Mhm.
And so they're a little bit more comfortable with it. So, but at the same time, fasting can be good. Doing a juicing fast and just to give your body a little bit of a break. You'll also, by the way, lose some weight doing that.
I don't want to recommend it for people that want to lose weight because it's not sustainable. And if you go into a detox
true.
thinking you're going to lose weight, you're going to deprive yourself of regular nutrients, and you're going to have a tendency to go in starvation mode, and the starvation mode is going to trigger in even more weight gain. So be extremely careful to have an exit plan if you want to detox to lose weight, so that when you're done with your detox, and the detox can be just a day, even a few hours, to 21 days, where you're really wanting to reset, especially addiction to sugar. It's good to stop sugar for 21 days so that you stop your taste for sugar and your addiction to sugar. So the length of it is depends on everyone and depends on what is your strategies to do it. I would never recommend a fast of 21 days. If you're doing 21 days, you would be with meals that are included into the process. But because it's generally a little bit of a shorter calories, people, when they're done with their detox, they have a tendency to go back to their normal. And that can be very stressing on the body, and the body can put even more weight on.
That's very true. By the way, we're talking with Dr. Emma. You can go to her website, which again is Dr. Emma.
StClementeVitality.com.
And you can give them a call, and I highly suggest that this muscle testing workshop that you have coming up would be a great thing for you to participate. Now, do people have to go there?
This muscle testing workshop, I'm only doing it in person for now. I'm thinking about trying to do it remote. I like the in person. As much as I like the access and being able to connect to people worldwide, I like the one-on-one, not the one-on-one, but the community. I like the direct contact, the physical contact, and the physical reality. So I'm an old woman like this, where I like the real connection without the computer in between.
You surely don't look like an old woman, but I'll take your word for it.
Good. So what I teach in that muscle testing workshop is really for individuals that are not practitioners to tap into their own wisdom and to be able to ask, is this food good for me? Is this food going to help me achieve my goals? And that goal can be weight loss, can be stabilizing sugar, can be working with diabetes, can be a lot of different things. And what supplements do I need? I really feel like people are overtaking their supplements most of the time. And most practitioners, when you get a supplement from a practitioner, is going to be like, take 1 or 3 pills a day for us ever. There's some days, like vitamin D, for example, there's some days where you are in the sun, that you're exposed, and that your body is producing that vitamin D, that you might not need to take a pill vitamin D. And so being able to muscle test your body to see what supplement you need that day can be very powerful to save you money on your supplements and to get you more in touch with your system and what it needs and what life you live.
We need to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to ask Dr. Emma about the concept of absorption and the difference between taking a discount vitamin that doesn't necessarily get absorbed into the body, or perhaps spending a little bit more and getting your absorption rate up higher so that the money that you're spending, for lack of a better term, you're not pooping out and you're wasting your money. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. Is that okay? Can we do that?
Yes.
We'll be right back.
A lifetime of savings can disappear overnight. Millions of dollars are stolen every day from unsuspecting older adults by family members, caregivers, and trusted professionals. If you suspect financial exploitation, call the Elder Care Locator at 1-800-677-1116 or go online to the National Adult Protective Services Association to be connected with help in your area.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. We're talking with Dr. Emma. She's a chiropractor of note. She's got a great practice down in Southern California. We're in the San Clemente region. And you can go to our website again. You say it so well. Go to our website.
SaintClementeVitality.com.
And
I have a website, Dr. Emma Wagner, too. DrEmmaWagner.com.
very nice. I didn't know about that one. That's good. I'm glad you brought that up. What's on that website that's different than what they would find here?
The website of St. Clemente Vitality Center is more around the office, the modalities, the different service of care. The one that's just for me is a bit older. I haven't touched it much, and it's more designed on what I work with more specifically. Perfect.
And she's incredible at what she does. One of the things I did want to mention or talk about a little bit is that going to the store to deciding what to buy for supplements in this day and age, it is difficult to get all the nutrients that we need from the food that we're eating. The food that even the fruits from the fresh fruit and things are not as nutrient rich as they once were because of depletion of the soils and other issues that may be.
I think it's too much transport time. I think it's really linked with one research I was reading was about an orange, and they were saying when you pick an orange, it has 100% of its vitamin C. Within 24 hours, that vitamin C dropped to 70%. So you transport it. If you put it in cold chambers and store it for later use, within 3 days, I think it's less than 25% that's left of vitamin C in that orange.
For those of you that are wondering why you can buy oranges year round when they are not necessarily harvested year round, it's because they put them into such cold storage places and reserve them for later. And so you do need supplementation, but you want to find supplements that the absorption rate, and doctor, you can explain what that is. The absorption rate is higher.
The absorptions means that, so the tube that we have going from our mouth through, I like that we're talking about this nonstop in your show today. So that tube that goes from your mouth, your esophagus, your stomach, your intestine, your colon, all the way out, is the inside of that tube is still considered as the outside of your body. And for the nutrients that you put in your mouth to be going into your blood flow needs to be absorbed from that tube outside your body, inside your body. And so that absorption is linked with the state of your gut system and the lining of your intestine principally. So if that lining is not functioning so well, it's inflamed, and most diet in the US is very inflaming to the gut, is going to create some issues where the absorption is not going to be optimized. So buying high quality, easy to digest, easy to absorb nutrition is very important. And it's true that pharmaceutical can make pills that sounds good, but they're not being absorbed by the body.
And so what happens is you're buying these things and then
they're just going through you and they're not going inside of you.
And which is, by the way, how they end up in landfills
Mm-hmm.
and in rivers and streams and things and stuff. So buy high. Number one, do you think that probiotics are a good thing to be using for your gut?
Depends for who. Again, not everybody is the same. I have patients that's the first thing I'm going to give them. I have patients it's the last thing I would give them.
Okay, so what you need to do.
Not everyone is good for everything.
So what you need to do is to go find Dr. Emma, or if you can't get to Southern California to Dr. Emma, you can perhaps there is somebody that is in your community, well, look at her website, because
I do online sessions. I do a lot of muscle testing online, a lot of emotional work online. I do a lot of energy work online. So there's a lot of things I can do online. The chiropractic part is not part of the work I can do online, obviously, because you need to be hands-on. But I have patients all over the world that calls me and like calling me to get advice and to get my feeling, my intuition, to see what they need to do to get better, because they cannot connect to their own system.
I thank you for correcting me on that, and I'm glad that you did, because now I want everybody just to call you. And can they go to your website
on my website? There's a link to book online appointments on the dremmawagner.com.
Very good. dremmawagner.com. Go there and you can book her. We've only got a couple of minutes left. I want to leave lots of time for you, because you're so learned and you are such a nice person. And I want to thank you for coming here and talking to us about these issues. And yeah, I think it's really important. But I'd like to give you the opportunity to tell anyone who's listening anything you'd like them to know.
For me, the most important is that getting healthier is possible. That giving yourself a little bit of time and a little bit of energy to make your body better. And it can be physically, it can be emotionally, it can be mentally, it can be connecting with that spiritual life that is part of us. Doing a little bit of work, you're going to be attracted to do a little bit more, because it feels amazing. And when you get results, you feel amazing. I have a 26 years old man right now coming in my office. He had emotional abuse. He had very bad food. He could not figure out how to eat healthy. We had a discussion. It's like, I'm eating healthier. I'm feeling better. I have energy. Not all his problems are resolved in 2 weeks, but it's so beautiful to see the body can change so fast when you're giving it the right thing.
And that must be really exciting for you to be able to have that kind of an impact on somebody's life.
I think it's exciting for me to be part of it and to see the magic happen. I'm more proud of people taking that responsibility and that charge, because it's really engaging yourself into your own life in a different way. And I'm proud to see people becoming better and wanting to be better.
Well, I love your passion. I love your desire to help people. And you and your husband have built a tremendous practice, and I think it's great. By the way, shout out to him, would you?
Yes.
Because he does some really unique things. He spent 12 years in France doing chiropractic and all kinds of stuff.
He's a very interesting person. I really like my husband. He's very zen, very quiet, very calm. I'm a little bit of the fire in the house. The female, the crazy. He is very zen. But he's very intelligent. You would like talking to him too, I'm sure.
Well, next time you come, we should have you both on, or I can talk to him, whatever you want to do.
I'll talk to him about it. Well, I'm sure it won't be an issue.
I would love to talk to you again, because the issues of energy, muscle testing, nutrition, detoxification, all of these things are so vital to living your best life. And it's when you live your best life, then you can have the adventure of a lifetime.
Exactly. And life is short, and it's worth it.
Exactly. Dr. Emma, thank you so much for being here. Your website, one last time.
dremmawagner.com, stclementevitality.com.
And I want to thank everybody for being here. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. She is just awesome. And if you'll wait right there, I'll be right back. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. We are a production of kmmedia.pro, a full-service media company. Whether it is audio, video, shorts, or longer pieces, we're able to take each project from beginning to final product within your time frame and on budget. Visit kmmedia.pro for more details about us and to get started on your project. We also would like to thank the Brushwood Media Network for all their support. Go to brushwoodmedianetwork.com to find out more about them and the quality shows featured on the network. Until then, we'll see you next time. My name again is Kevin McDonald, and please remember,